Meagan, you look beautiful.
Thank you,
Thank you so
darling.
much. All right, so what we're going to do, I'm going to jump in and intro. All right, so for everyone that is tuning in, my name is Dion Joyner Williams. It's like a Tribe Called Quest. You got to say it all together.
Miss
And
Dion
you are
joining
joining
me.
us. And you're joining us for My Be More project, where we stand in the gap of the information and positive news that our community needs in order to engage and be empowered. I'm also the Chief Energy Officer of Audacity Group, which is a global brand shop where we work with social innovators to amplify those bold ideas. And last but not least, I'm also the author of That Part, which some know but won't tell you about motherhood, which is a diary and a declaration of owning your voice and using it, which is why we are here today, because Meagan Ducky Dynamo Buster is a woman that made me scream and run to my children and say, hey, yet another example of everyday people seeing a challenge and not waiting for someone to come and solve it, but doing it themselves. Do you mind if I do your intro for
Please
you, ma'am?
do. I
All
love
right.
it, please.
I'm about to Shannon Sharp this. All right. Meagan Ducky Dynamo Busters, party annex, have led her to become a mainstay in some of Baltimore's best-known venues.
Hey.
She's toured the country and across our borders, bringing Baltimore club culture sound to all within an earshot. A true ambassador of our city's sonic energy and spirit, she continues to push her impact through her years performing in cities like Atlanta, New York, Dallas, Columbus, Philadelphia, Toronto, and more. Over the years, Ducky Dynamo has cemented herself as a staple in Baltimore club culture. Ducky is one of the most consistent Baltimore club music event curators in the city and has trained and facilitated the journey of many of our area DJs. When times are tough for the genre, Ducky fought audaciously for the
Ooh.
preservation and for preservation became a bridge between the older generation and our newer generation of fans, producers, dancers, and DJs. This unrelenting passion, along with her skill, has taken her far. She's a multi-time nominee for numerous Baltimore Crown Awards, including DJ of the Year. And in 2023, Meagan was honored for the Baltimore Club Music Day by Baltimore's Mayor Brandon M. Scott, a new city holiday that will forever bind her contributions and undying love for the culture. Did I get a moment to give flowers?
Oh, please. Yes. Thank you. That makes me feel like all crazy, like hearing you read it like that. I'm like, that's me. Did I do that?
And the thing is, if everyone in our major urban cities felt that sense of shine and power that God has placed in all of us, how
Yeah.
empowered will we be able to change the world? So I'm happy to just be able to share in it. Before all that being said, let's jump into the reason for this conversation. Like I said, my Be More project was, how do you talk to everyday people about the things they need to know quickly, the things that they need to know in order to maybe activate or move? And I saw in the social feeds that Meagan was raising $500,000 in order to save formerly the old Club Choices in Station North.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, what? What? Wait, okay, so please explain to me what I saw and how did that come about? What are you
Okay.
doing, man?
Here's what I'm doing. Here's what happened. Here's the story. I was laying in bed scrolling, like all of us do, in the night before we fall asleep, looking through our timelines. And a friend of mine had shared a post from a friend of theirs, simply talking about the fact that what we know today is Choices, no, new then is Choices, new now is Trips, Gatsby's, was for sale for auction. And it was going up for auction on June 12th. And the starting bid was $500,000. And I saw this and it was kind of like, whoa. We in the club community, the nightlife community here, have lost so many venues over the past, few years, decade. And one of the biggest issues that we all, face is the fact that there aren't a lot of places for us to curate our events, to hold hold the things that we want to do. in a safe place, and that's accepted. Again, by us, I'm speaking of us as I'm speaking for the Black community. I'm speaking for the femme community. I'm speaking for the LGBTQ community. Um, all of us who make up what is culture and life here in Baltimore, essentially, this place has a story in it.
Yes.
Whether you've been there yourself, you know DJs who have been there, you know dancers who have been there, you know events that have come through, and if nothing else, you've seen it as a staple of that area coming down, you know, Charles Street. This is something that is a part of our culture. And I personally am really big on that, period. Preserving our Black entertainment, culture, and history story here in Baltimore, as it feels as though we continue to get erased. And we see this replicated in a lot of cultural hubs, especially Black, you know, people of color based cultural hubs. So, all that to say, I saw it and I was like, you know what? If I had $500,000, I'd buy that right now. But
Right.
I only had like $2, so you know,
I got two more to give to you. Uh huh.
so it's like, what else? You know, what's up? I wasn't joking, but I was kind of joking. I was just like, I'll start the GoFundMe tomorrow. Like, who's in? And I went to sleep and I woke up and people were like, yeah, what's up? Like, we can do this. There's enough people. You know, there were people like, oh, that's a lot of money, but it was that general idea of we can do this if we work together. It's not impossible.
Can I ask you, Megan? Do
It's
you feel that when, and I want you to keep going in the story, but there's a
Mhm.
few parts that I would love for you to uplift. One,
Okay.
those early responses,
Yeah.
because I think it's important for people to understand that when you have an idea, it's a scary thing to open up to the world and say, this is what I'm going to do,
For
because
sure.
the response that you get, it's not typically what you're doing, it's what other people are dealing with. So
Right.
I'd love for you to give context in order to encourage people. What was some of the varied responses to you making this audacious move? Then hell, we can do this.
Right. So it was, I mean, it was simply that. There was initially, like I said, you look at that, it's a daunting, it's a crazy ask. You know, that's a lot of money in very short amount of time for a really big thing. But it was for me, it wasn't just the here's my $60, here's my $20. It was the underlying narrative of everything that I was just saying. It was the fact that people saw the actual effort and mission behind me wanting to do that. It was the people popped up like, oh, this would be crazy for you as a Black female to own this. This would be really important for you as a native Baltimorean, you know, as a DJ, as someone in the club culture, et cetera, to have this. Even if it's not specifically me, just again, the image of me representing, again, the communities that I come from.
And that's
Um,
something really important for everyone that's listening here. And full disclosure, I'm saying this publicly because I'm like this too. Megan was very clear when we were talking about having this conversation that this is not about me, Dion. So even as we're talking, it is this idea of collectively,
right,
how do we as a community come together and make this a practice?
right.
So I just want to make sure that
Thank you.
I
Yeah.
know that.
Because it's like, that was the main support. Again, coming from me, I'm a like Heidi person. I don't like exactly being in the spotlight. I'm not a clout chaser. I'm not trying to sound corny or whatever, but I'm dead serious. That is not my goal. I could care less how many likes I have. I could care less about, you know, what it does for my specific name because I have done the work that I have done. So I don't need, you know, certain type of accolades or being held up. So that being said, I wanted to make it clear, and like you just did, thank you for helping me elevate that I am doing this in the mindset of it's not me, Ducky, exactly trying to buy this. It's me on behalf of everybody. That's part of why it was a crowdfunding goal. You know, it's like, no, I want this for all of us because I'm just one little me. I have my mission and I have my, my path and my interests and the things I focus on. But there are a number of other curators. There's a number of other artist groups. There's a number, you know, of other entities, period, that can and will and have benefited from this space, that don't feel as though they are heard or that our voices are, you know, greatly put out there and having a stake in this community. Um,
What would you say? There was a question that was posted in the chat
yeah,
of what would you say has been a barrier of more ownership of these venues of of these our cultural venues?
it seems like to so based on what I know and what I've experienced, just talking with people, especially those from the generations prior to mine who were firmly in these places, there is it's like a resource based thing. And but I think the biggest resource that's missing is knowledge. Um we are and have been kept ignorant to a lot of processes involved with, ownership and
Okay,
property and all of that. And, any of us who, I don't want to sound weird, but any of us who know anything about anything, when it comes to
right,
Baltimore, we get it. You know that there's a situation here. With ownership. Look at all the blighted buildings. Look all that we're being pushed out.
right.
And the ownership has decreased. I think it does have to do with the fact that a lot of us, I don't know about everyone else, but again, I'm 36 years old, born and raised in Baltimore. I never specifically took a class on how to buy your block. There wasn't a class in
That
school.
sounds like let me write that down. That's a great class.
It's like there hasn't been there's never, I joke all the time about this entrepreneurial stuff and being an artist. There's no book. We were never given a manual on this is how you become an entrepreneur. This is how you become a venue owner. We just know what we see and just try to do. And because there's so much red tape around a lot of this stuff, when it comes to zoning, when it comes to all that,
Permitting, all of that, right?
it gets really, really crazy here.
And while we have people here, it's this is a process
Hmm.
because it's not a one or done. So I want you to be able to share your thinking of knowing this goes up for auction June 12th and whether you raise or don't raise to be
Hmm.
able to discuss how do we continue to work together and keep this thinking. So if you can please share
So,
with people what your vision
and
is.
this is probably the most important part of the whole thing to me. This message that I'm gonna try to work out as I talk through it because I've been thinking about it. It's crazy. So my vision is, so let's say we don't make the money. That's probably the most realistic outcome of what's gonna happen. Let's just be real. So let's say we don't hit that 500K. So we can't go ahead and make a bid for it. Fine. In my head, what I would like to do is with any of the money that is raised, again, depending on the amount, if it's high enough, it'll go one way. If it's low enough, we can go another way. But if it's on the higher end, I want to attempt to use this money to go to the people who do actually win and buy this property and say that we as a community, I guess again, serving as a conduit through me, can be some sort of stakeholder in this property, be some
Okay.
sort of investor in the property, so that when it comes to be about when the person does buy it and they go through the renovations and they fix it and they bring it to life, we again as the Black community, the culture who has created and facilitated the realm that this building even stands on in the first place, can continue a stake in what happens. And we are not written out. And again, it is not like, as Adam pointed out, another situation where you have someone from someone else, different color, different whatever, different everything, owning this and then just kind of using our native skill and talent and identity, money that's running there, and then not come back to us. I think it is extremely important that these venues, and new venues that pop up, have some sort of stake in the actual Native community around it and give back to the community, especially because if you look at numbers, the amount of money and revenue, the amount of resource that the city of Baltimore generates solely off of entertainment and nightlife is kind of like a lot of this comes from us anyway, and we don't exactly see it coming back. And all we do is see things disappear. You know, um, and that's a disturbing fact to me because again, I think in the preservation of what culture and identity to a city or any community is, it's really important that we preserve that and keep that in the forefront of our mission, regardless of anything. And Baltimore, we know the story of Baltimore. It's a city having a hard time. We have a lot of issues. We have a lot of stuff, but again, things like your platform, there's enough positivity here, and there's enough light here that should be elevated. Sometimes there's moments when I get on my bandwagon about the Baltimore club music scene, the nightlife entertainment scene. It's really easy to kind of poo-poo that aside, like, oh, it's just a party, it's just a club. Why are you tripping? Like, it's not that serious. But it's like, no, you don't understand, or you don't see again the people, the lives, the identity of citizens here who put their life into this. This is our day to day. This is our, you know, our situation, and that makes up a lot of Baltimoreans. This
I
city is
read
rich.
here you have, and this is you speaking. I feel it is extremely vital to the health of not just the Station North community and the nightlife world of Baltimore, but also to the legacy of Black nightlife and culture, that this property becomes owned by someone with these stories and realities in mind. To me, that sounds like intention. And
Yeah.
it's to be able to hold each other accountable to upholding the narrative.
Hmm.
I want the way that you speak of, I'm gonna be honest because I come out of a tourism background. So
Hmm.
the way that you speak of nightlife and that emergence of art and culture, you make it sound so much richer than, oh, I'm going out to the club,
Right.
I'm gonna go party.
Right.
Can you because I'm just fascinated in understanding, what keeps people living in a city and what brings people to a city.
Hmm.
Can the importance of that? Can you share the importance of that in your words?
Yeah, because like I said, we're getting down to identities. So I mean, let's be real, right? So let's go back to. I'm gonna go back to when I was like 19. So this is like 2007, 2008. When I first got involved with bands, DJs, promotion, all of that. That's where my journey started, right? So back then, we used to go out every freaking night. There was enough in Baltimore that because of the promotion teams I was on, we had a party Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, we were at the docks, Saturday night, we were at somewhere else, Sunday night, we might have been back at the docks, but there were 5 nights in a row of multiple parties and events. Baltimore was rich with this. Okay. And it's like growing up as a young adult, in that it created a, kind of like expectation of and an understanding of this is what being an adult in the city is, right? This again, it's that identity. Baltimore used to be known as a nightlife destination. It was a place to come to party. Like it was that light. So it's like, to me, something that's that important, it obviously can't be just something that's just so frivolous. And it's not just as easy as, because again, you're just going out. You're just going out to go and, pay your $15, $20 cover and go buy your drinks and do stuff with your girls and do that. But for someone else, again, consider the owner of the club who has to sit there. Consider all of the bartenders that he or she then employs.
Yeah.
Consider the security staff. Consider then the DJs that we come in and we play. Consider, the any of the bottle girls or hosts who are there, if they're involved, sound people, the janitors, all of that, all of those people I just listed are at work tonight because of this. So it's
That's fair.
like when you do that and you remember the fact that, yeah, we just going out to listen to Ducky DJ and two step and twerk around and shake off. When you think about the people and how all of these become elements, like I said, look at it kind of like, as much as I don't want to, a capitalistic point of view. Look at the jobs, look at the bills, look at the business. These are little communities. And, even if you're not employed, you become, even as a patron of this, you become sort of like a family.
Yeah.
That's the corny part of it, but it's the very true part of it. You go to the same place week after week after week after week. These people do become your brothers and sisters and cousins, and as families are born. Like I said, I was joking the other day, some of those people that I started partying with 15 and 20 years ago are still people. They've, like married each other, they've had children, they've grown up, but it's still that same circle of us in the club, and it's like the nightlife and the culture. Like I said, I always want to air off of being so much in the club, but it's just like, look at what the community did.
Community,
It just
understood.
so happened to be in
Meagan,
the
how do
club.
people, how, one, everybody knows you, but for those who are just meeting you or hearing about your passion or your cause,
Mhm.
how do they stay connected with you? What do you want us to do?
Okay.
Now that you've got the eyes, tell us what to do.
All right. So to stay connected with me, you can reach me here on Instagram or anywhere under the name Ducky Dynamo. I made it really easy. I have one screen name, and it's that on everything. So
Smart, smart
if you look,
marketing.
because I'm like, man, I can't keep up. We'll just keep doing the same thing. So if ever you want to contact me, I'm super open, super whatever. You can send me a message and reach out. Um, but as far as this, the greatest thing I could ask for at this point in time is simply keep sharing. Donations are lovely. Um, but sharing and spreading the word, I think, is the bigger thing than the money at this point in time. Because what I'm seeing is, again, from my own efforts and the support of those around me, again, the message behind this is loud. The need for Black ownership, the need for female ownership, the need for Native Baltimorean ownership, and are using what I've created and started to be like, yeah, nah, this is what we need right here. At the end of the day, it can come, say June 13th comes, and we haven't raised that money to do that. What I have raised is, look at the supporters that are standing behind me, and we need this.
You got a
Look at the people.
coalition. You got an advisory. You got people. Yes.
Right. And so that's why I'm urging the sharing and the connection, because a lot of cool resources have floated by me that could be very powerful and helpful in this, and instrumental in this. And even if we don't win this property, maybe getting a property one day. You know what I mean? So I'm looking for a lot of feedback and ideas about what we as this community, think that we, need and should go with. And I am looking for, of course, them dollars. So if you got some spare change, definitely throw that into the GoFundMe. But then at the least, sharing with your friends and colleagues and, fans and anybody who's ever partied. Whether you love Baltimore, whether you love Black Baltimore, whether you just love music, shaking off, voguing, whatever the case, this is something that kind of speaks to you if you've had any good memory. So I just want to keep that, and I want to extend that to people and just know that there's a deeper message and there's work being done to try to resolve the morale of the city and just keep people wanting to come, and stay and not leave.
Hey, Meg, I can't wait until I see you in person because that's going to be the biggest, tightest hug.
Yeah,
And I want to get it might be more project. And Dion Joyner Wings, we really want to be that source of the information that you need to get to your mother, your cousin, your grandmother, because those people, we shape the culture. The business community is listening to the streets.
yeah,
The business community, they're listening to the people. The arts and culture, you shape the story. And if we really did understand that, what a story to tell. What a story to tell. So let's do this. Ducky, thank you so much for
yeah.
your time. Thank you for
Thank
everyone
you.
that has
Thank
joined.
you.
I want to put, let me tell you that remix that you did with Kendrick, the Not Like Us.
Oh no, I didn't do that one,
Who did
but
that?
my friend Rip Knox. That's song of the year. Song of the year. I'm telling you, that's the one. That's the